stuff. Why do you think it got so bad
Why
there?
did you want out of Brooklyn, and why did you want Philadelphia to be your destination?
If I knew, I would tell you everything. But there's just a lot of things internally that, had to happen over time. And it just got to a place where I don't think it was good for me mentally. So, it is what it is. It happened and moving forward. So.
Originally, when I was going through everything I was going through, in Houston, Philly was my first choice. It just didn't happen. So, but just detailed, I don't really want to get into, the Brooklyn situation. I just knew, for a very long time, this was a perfect fit.
And as far as playing with Kyrie and KD, how do you think what you do accentuates what they already do on the floor well?
What can Joel Embiid do for your game, and what can you do for Joel's game?
I think it's going to be scary. Having those guys run alongside me, there's multiple different weapons on the floor, and I think at the pace we want to play at, it's just going to be unreal.
I think we complement each other. Obviously the whole world knows how great Joel's been playing. Not just scoring the basketball, but rebounding. He got a triple-double last game. Just like his presence alone is unbelievable. And I feel like I'm the same way as far as making my teammates better and doing different things that impact the game at the highest level. And then we have a great core of guys that can help with that.
When it comes to that mental recalibration, has it helped, or even how much has it helped just to have a change of pace, a different environment, where to take your skills?
I think it has. I think just the way everybody's welcomed me here has been great. It's been a very positive experience. It's just being here so far, and I'm looking forward to what's to come.
And obviously, you got a big man, the best big man in the league, in Joel. And then obviously the coaching, just from top to bottom, it made sense. And I'm just happy and blessed that I'm here. And as Doc and everybody knows and everybody wants is to win and be the last team standing. So I'm excited for the opportunity.
Yo, what's good with y'all, man? It's Swervo Hoops, and today we about to be talking about some hoops, man. So being that Ben Simmons and Harden are now officially traded to their respective teams, Ben Simmons going to Brooklyn and Harden going to Philadelphia, which was supposedly, as y'all seen in the clips, his first choice before he got traded to Brooklyn. And we do know that, it was a target place for Harden to go to when he went in out of Houston. But we cannot sit up here and lie that this man Harden hasn't been in good situations for at least the past 6-7 years. Now, we can all acknowledge that Houston could have probably built a better team at times, but let's be honest, James Harden has had his fair share of great teammates throughout most of his career. He's done played with Dwight Howard, he's done played with Chris Paul, he's done played with Russell Westbrook, and he's done had a team where he was the man. He even allowed his ISO ball and just had a very solid core group of role players on the team. When he had Beverly and Eric Gordon, Ariza, all in their primes, he had solid role players, etc. So, I mean, if he don't get it done in Philadelphia, I feel like he's just going to be in that same boat with Westbrook in terms of he's just going to be a player that is just hard to win with. With that being said, though, I do want to touch on Ben Simmons and this mental health card that he is throwing out there as a result of him not playing. And I mean no disrespect to any athletes that go through mental health issues. And obviously, I wouldn't go as far as to say they shouldn't be allowed to have issues like that just because of the simple fact that they're making millions. I understand that these are human beings. They're still going to have emotions. They're still going to go through life situations. But here's the thing that I'm kind of seeing is a tendency in Ben Simmons. And of course, I don't know the man personally, never knew him, never met him, whatever. I'm only going off of the knowledge of what has been shown to the media and what I know about how he has handled this whole Philadelphia situation. Of course, it could be deeper than that. Mans can be going through some crazy shit behind the scenes, whatever. But one thing I've noticed is a pattern in Ben Simmons, and it's how he responds in moments of extreme pressure. And it even bleeds into how he is as a player today, because even though we can all acknowledge that Ben Simmons is a good player, he really hasn't made any transformational leap since his rookie season. And although he has grown in strides in certain parts of his game defensively, he's still an elite level passer, solid rebounder, inside scorer at times. but we noticed that Ben Simmons lacks that aggressive mindset to really improve as a player. And don't get me wrong, he don't own nobody's shit or an explanation. He in the NBA, he got the contract he got, etc., whatever. But if that is the case, Ben Simmons was a bit overrated. We probably did expect him to be this superstar player that just never panned out to be. And to this day, you know, I know that he can still have the potential to have that role if he just had a different type of mentality. But through already his actions, I'm seeing that he is probably just going to be a really, really good role player, especially on this Brooklyn team where they already have 2 established stars who are the main scorers. I mean, y'all can correct me if I'm wrong in the comments below. And if his family isn't in grave danger, he's not going through any health situations that is just on his mind crazy, it's like, to me, I question what is truly going on. Now, I've never been in a position where I've had hundreds and thousands of people criticize me for my game. So I understood why he was doing what he was doing in Philly. Because at the end of the day, organization did throw him under the bus a little bit after that series in last year's playoffs against Atlanta. That he's fair to feel that way, you know? But my thing is that you have yet to play a game in the NBA this season and got what you wanted. You got out of Philly. It's been some time. I still see a report saying that he's weeks away from his debut, and it's like, how can a team invest in this? Like, I ain't gonna lie, Ben Simmons is truly lucky that Brooklyn was in a desperate situation in terms of running to get rid of Harden. Because truth be told, especially after Simmons' playoff performances over the past 2 years, teams don't really know whether he's this franchise-changing player who just needs a little bit of work, or if you're getting like an athletic Draymond Green type of all-star role player type of vibe. That unpredictability and risk factor of not knowing what you're truly investing in. Are you getting a player that has the potential to become a superstar one day and is going to give it his all 110%, whether it's regular season or playoffs? Or will you be getting a player who hides from the responsibility and shows an unwillingness to really grow on his weaknesses as a player, or will even go as far as to shut himself down if things don't go his way? Hey man, I hope he gets better to a better place mentally, and I also just pray and hope that this doesn't become a trend in the league. And even with Harden, like him acting the way he did, he was still playing games though. But in Harden's past 2 situations, whether it was with Houston or whether it was with Brooklyn, he's already shown this tendency to show like a lackadaisical effort on the floor whenever he gets unhappy with an organization. And it's also led to some questionable conditioning. Don't get me wrong, even the Harden situation, I understand to an extent because, you know, he probably felt like it was similar to Houston with Kyrie not wanting to get the shot and then KD still having injury issues. Whatever, you feel me? But it's like this trend of like players, if they're not happy in their situation and they understand their power against these organizations now, they kind of put up this diva act, and I don't know whether it's going to be good or bad for NBA. I just don't want it to become consistent. In terms of their fits with both these respective teams, getting that opinion out the way, I do feel like Ben Simmons will serve as a good fit on this team, even better than he was on Philly, because not only does he have more talent offensively in terms of having Kyrie and KD to defer to offensively as scorers, but he can serve and fill in that spot that they definitely needed in terms of needing a good defender. Even though the Nets have dealt with a lot of injuries this year, as they are listed 20th in defensive rating, we can all agree that prior to the season starting, that a key weakness that the Nets had is that they didn't have a solid defensive presence on this team. Even when they had Harden, we still seen how they were going to have difficulties guarding some of the elite big men in the East, such as Giannis or Embiid. But with the acquisition of a player like Ben Simmons and even Drummond, they now have more size and defensive versatility and depth to guard such great players. Not that they'll be able to stop them, but they'll give them some problems. And I did see their recent acquisition of Goran Dragic. Not that I'm saying that, you know, he's a good defender, but, you know, they added some more firepower to the team. They did acquire Seth Curry and Drummond, and W to the Sixers for not giving up Maxey or Thibault throughout the deal. So I feel like this is a W for both teams, given the situation that both these players wanted to get out of their organizations. But yeah, I feel like Ben Simmons will have a crucial part on this team, because not only does it add that extra layer of playmaking that they will be missing with Harden getting traded, but it's also getting them a better defender. They're also getting another rebounder in Andre Drummond. They definitely could use someone who is a great rebounder on this team. Even though the Nets are a mid-tier rebounding team as a whole, They still don't have anybody on the roster who really specializes in that aspect of the game like Drummond does. In already 4 games with the Nets, he's averaging them 10 and 11. And if he could just focus his energy towards just finishing around the basket and getting rebounds, that's a solid contribution. In addition, also getting someone like Simmons who averages them about like 7 or 8 rebounds, that's also another addition. Even with Seth Curry, there's just more spacing for them. He's a deadly shooter. This team could still use some more defense, not gonna lie. But I do believe that them getting Ben Simmons and Andre Drummond will give them some defensive versatility and some more size against bigger lineups. But it's gonna be interesting to see how the Nets use him off the ball, if he'll be setting screens, if he'll be rolling to the basket, whether he'll continue playing in the dunker spot more often, or how him and Kyrie can balance sharing the ball, because it's different than playing with Harden, where Harden and Kyrie could both space the floor and get theirs in an ISO situation. You now are playing with someone who really doesn't have that ability to want to shoot. Like now, Simmons won't be as relied on as a second option. And if he can't even fill in as a third option at times, like I said, they still have other shooters. Very intrigued to see how that comes together in Brooklyn. In terms of Philly, I do feel like, again, both sides of the deal really are gonna emphasize the strengths of both these players and really hide the weaknesses of both these players, given the talent on both teams. With Harden, I feel like he's going into a situation in Philly where they're already an established good defensive team. Not saying that the man is gonna become like an all defensive player or anything, but he has help on that side of the ball more than he has ever, because now he's playing with Thibault, who is someone who is like an all defensive player, caliber player, and Embiid, who is also at that level as well. And not to mention, Philly is sitting at the 10th spot in defensive rating in the league right now without their defensive player of the year candidate, Ben Simmons, for most of the season. And I mean, even though Harden does have a bad reputation in terms of the effort he gives on that side of the floor, I do believe that a motivated Harden can be a solid fit within their defensive schemes, and it shouldn't be that much of a problem for them on that side of the floor. Him being an elite level playmaker and an elite level scorer is going to combine very well with Embiid, and I think most people know that, which is why I really wanted to move to Philly instead of Brooklyn instead, especially for what they gave up for Harden in that Brooklyn deal when it had happened. But I feel like him and Embiid is going to be the perfect combo. If everything goes well and they remain healthy, I mean, this is probably the best 1-2 duo we've seen since Kobe and Shaq in terms of guards and big men. You feel me? You got 2 MVP caliber players on the same team at this point. I mean, a move like that has put them into title contention if they remain healthy. And like I said, them keeping Thibault was crucial because that is their best perimeter defender on the team. And, you know, they still have Maxey, who was actually proving to be a better fit at point guard for the Sixers team than Simmons was. And, of course, he wasn't the defender or the rebounder or passer that Simmons was, but he definitely was more willing to shoot. And he's even in contention for this Most Improved Player of the Year award, because the performances that Maxey has been having this year is phenomenal. He's a really, really good, solid player. And, like I said, his ability to space the floor is going to even make it easier for him to play off Harden, and they can share ball handling duties. They have Tobias Harris as well. He's been kind of inconsistent this season, but we obviously know that he's like a borderline all-star caliber player, and with Harden being on this team, he won't be as relied on to have playmaking duties. You know, he'll have more of a chance to show what he can do off the ball now, because Harden is definitely gonna be focused on getting Embiid going. He's gonna have his ISO moments, and everybody got to eat. We should see, man. I mean, both these teams are pretty much title contenders this season, along with several other teams. I really can't lock in and say who's really destined to win a championship this year, because I'm done doing that, man. Like, injuries play a huge factor in that, so it's really whatever team can remain the healthiest and whatever team could just remain the most consistent in the playoffs. I mean, nobody really expected the Suns or the Bucks to make the finals last year, and before this year started, we assumed that Lakers and Nets was going to be the super team. Yeah, man, I mean, shit, we'll be looking forward to it. But with that being said, though, man, if you guys enjoyed the video, leave a like down below. I feel like both teams got what they wanted. And I did forget to mention that Paul Millsap was also part of the Philadelphia trade as well. We know, I mean, shit, he was pretty washed. He probably is past his prime, but I do still feel like he can contribute as a floor spacer for Philly and also a solid defender in moments. With that being said, though, leave a like down below if you enjoyed the video, man. It's been Swervo Hoops talking about some hoops, man. Subscribe if you're new, and y'all be easy, man. update on the Ben Simmons situation minutes before I was about to upload this video. Turns out he just got some back soreness. So yeah, I'm not redoing this video and all that, but yeah, y'all be easy though. I'm still uploading this bitch.